take a look and see if we can answer the question of would you survive a zombie apocalypse in Canada? Very interesting question. Is this video apparently is gonna go over the survivability of a zombie apocalypse in the various provinces of Canada? Ooh. I am intrigued. Well, but Atsunashi, there's a big hunting culture in Canada. Well, Revan, I think we're going on the assumption of slow walker zombies.
Weird Al's new song. Pouring off the Ritz.
Anyway, let's take a look and see, could you survive the zombie apocalypse in Canada, and in particular, which province?
A zombie apocalypse just hit Canada. You've got 1 minute before Toronto's streets flood with the undead. Where do you run? Where do you hide? Today we're breaking down the best and worst places to survive the night.
I mean, in Toronto, you're fucked. You are fucked in Toronto. I can tell you that much right now. The zombie apocalypse in Toronto would be the same as a zombie apocalypse in New York, and in Chicago, in LA, in Austin, you know, any major city, you're fucked if it's in Toronto.
From the frozen Yukon to the crowded downtown Toronto streets, what locations give you the best fighting chance, and which will be your doom?
You
so
better
stick
go
around to the
East
end,
Coast,
because the
motherfucker.
safest place just might be the last place you'd ever expect. We're going with classic zombies here, your slow, rotting Romero-style walkers. No Olympic sprinters, no mutant clickers, just overwhelming numbers spreading bite by bite.
Okay. Then there is no zombie apocalypse. Because realistically speaking, the zombie apocalypse would be contained in no time flat. Realistically, if you have the slow walkers, you know, Hollywood likes to try and say, oh, you know, a zombie apocalypse would destroy everything. No. Realistically, a slow walking zombie apocalypse would be, you know, funneled and ended really fucking quickly. Realistically. You know, there are enough firearms, and plus people would be able to do plenty of handheld weapons to basically brain zombies. A zombie apocalypse of this nature would get routed very quickly, despite what Hollywood likes to try and tell you. It would not be hard. They're slow. This is a hockey culture who loves swinging around hockey sticks and fighting. It is the national fucking pastime. They can handle zombie apocalypse without any difficulty.
Your survival depends on 5 major things: population density, access to fresh water, climate, remoteness, and Canada's notoriously tight gun laws. Okay, now look, we can't do...
Okay, Canada has stricter gun laws than the US, yes. It's not that bad. Okay, plenty of people have hunting rifles, and a hunting rifle is more than suitable for dropping a zombie. Even a zombie horde. A hunting rifle be sufficient. And you can get hunting rifles, you can get ARs, you can get handguns, you can get shotguns. Canada has not banned handguns, Revan. They have not. You have to get a restricted license to own a handgun, and Canada has not banned handguns. And ARs, like even with the limitations on the ammunition and ARs, again, these are, you know, people act like, oh, you have to get close to use them. No, you can drop a zombie from 100, 150 yards away fairly easily. And so, like, it's like you don't need to be close to drop a zombie with a firearm of any fucking type. Like, you can literally, from a distance, we're coming. From a good distance, you can literally just blink, 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 and just headshot, 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 and just drop them. It's like, it's not that difficult.
A full deep dive on all 13 provinces and territories, we'd be here until the next apocalypse. So let's rapid fire through them, then we'll slow down and take a closer look at the best places to survive, and the ones that'll absolutely get you killed. British Columbia, my home and native land. No, seriously, this is where I'm from. Here you got the forests, mountains, fishing, and the ocean. But you also get Vancouver, a city that rains 365 days out of the year, which also turns into a zombie buffet on day one, just like Toronto. Alberta, rural, self-reliant, and packed with hunting cabins, but also packed with angry people who think the Filipino workers at the Tim Hortons intentionally gave them the wrong coffee on purpose.
No. I'm gonna disagree. Like, Albertans are not angry by default. They're not. They are fiercely independent. Absolutely. They are, Alberta is oil country. So they are, and they are fiercely independent as evidenced by what's happening now. Though they don't fucking hate the Filipino. Actually, I think most Canadians are very happy with people from the Philippines that come to the States because they're actually very hardworking individuals and they're actually very respectful. It's not the Filipinos at Tim Hortons that people have a fucking problem with right now. Well, okay, Revan, Rudy, I can tell you right now is that if I want to, I've looked recently, I could buy an AR, I can buy like an AR-15 rifle where I reside in Canada. I've looked recently. If you have the proper licensing, if you go through the proper, classes and you get the proper licensing, I can get a hunting rifle, I can get a shotgun, I can get an AR-15, and I can get a pistol if I have the proper licensing. So yeah, like they have to limit it. There may be some kinds of limitations on, magazine ammo counts or whatnot, but I can still get the rifle. So I'm just saying it's a little bit overblown.
Saskatchewan, flat and quiet, great visibility. You can see a storm or a zombie horde coming from a mile away.
Canito, I don't give a fuck if people consider it a cucked AR. When the bullet hits, it's not gonna care if it's a full-blown American AR or a quote-unquote cucked Canadian AR. The bullet don't care what kind of barrel it's going through. Kevin, I don't think that there is to my knowledge, there's not a restriction on bows in Canada. To my knowledge.
Flat and quiet, great visibility. You can see a storm or a zombie horde coming from a mile away. Terrible if you like trees or cover. Bring snowshoes and a generator. Manitoba, similar vibe to Saskatchewan, with more lakes and more mosquitoes. Every small town has at least one curling rink, a co-op, and a secret stash of pierogies. Ontario, 16 million people, packed highways, and you'll probably die in traffic trying to leave. The further north you go, the better. Quebec. Between Montreal and Quebec City, you're pretty much trapped. Overcrowded, chaotic, and full of bottlenecks.
Yeah, and not to mention, I would not count on Quebec being very cooperative in terms of repelling a zombie horde. I wouldn't count on those within Quebec being able to properly defend against it. Realistically. Same thing with Toronto, honestly. Toronto and Quebec, like the major cities, I wouldn't count on them knowing what the fuck to do. At all.
But head out to rural Quebec, totally different vibe. Tight-knit farming towns, cold winters that slow the dead, and enough hunting rifles to make survival possible. If you know...
Yeah, there it is. There it was. AR, there's your AR. There's your AR-15 right there. Yeah.
If you know the terrain and speak a little French, you'll be well on your way.
That was not a bold action, I don't think. Hang up. Let me dial it back. There were a bunch of bold actions
Winters
there.
that slow the dead, and enough hunting rifles to make survival.
Actually, no, you know what? You might be right. That could be a bolt action. You actually, you know what? You could be right. That particular model is a bolt action. You're right. I'm wrong. But I do know that ARs, like I said, I looked into this recently, and you can get an AR in Canada.
Possible. If you know the terrain and speak a little French, you'll be well on your way. You need some of that jus.
That's the key. That's the key right there. With Quebec, if you don't speak French, are they going to actually help you? Are they going to actually help you if you don't speak French? I legit don't know.
So we do come at the pale 2 action, if you know what I mean. I'm joking. Even I don't know what I mean. Anyways, let's continue. Newfoundland and Labrador, isolated and self-reliant. If you're already there, you might be fine. If not, that ferry left weeks ago. Now it's just you and the ocean you're surrounded by. Nova Scotia.
And by the way, I should point out, Winnie, hang on,
Newfoundland.
Let me move over, because there's a distinction here. Okay, there's a clear distinction. Newfoundland and Labrador are 2 parts. You have Labrador, which is this section right here. This section is Labrador. This is Newfoundland. If you're on Newfoundland, you're good. If you're on Labrador, you have it's bordering on Quebec, so you don't have much safety. So the people of Newfoundland are probably good, because Newfoundland is, you got deep waters, rocky cliffside, so zombies are not really going to be able to climb up it. And so you are beautifully isolated, and it's a fishing community. So you will be able to be, Newfoundland will be able to be quite self-reliant. So right now. Not quite sure how appropriate that was. Yeah, like if you're in Newfoundland, you're good, because Newfoundland is quite self-reliant. It's got farms. It's a fishing community. It's like, you'll probably be good. Labrador, you might be in worse. Labrador is land. However, because it's so far north, you have the bitter fucking cold winters that are predominant throughout the year that can absolutely cause problems for the zombies in terms of slowing them down. So, and Labradorians are very much a hunting culture. For fuck's sake, people of Labrador deal with polar bears. Pretty sure they can fucking handle zombies when they're commonly dealing with fucking polar bears. Okay? Hell, they could just, let the polar bears take care of the fucking zombies, for fuck's sake. Let the zombies come up, and then it's like, okay, just lead them to the polar bears. The polar bears will just fuck them up for them.
In Labrador, isolated and self-reliant. If you're already there, you might be fine. If not, that ferry left weeks ago. Now it's just you and the ocean you're surrounded by. Nova Scotia. The second most densely populated province in Canada. This higher density is due to Nova Scotia's relatively small land area combined with a population exceeding 1 million. You don't want to be in a populated area during a zombie outbreak because...
Okay, I'm going to say, what I know, from what I know, Nova Scotia, the population density is south. That's where the majority of the population density resides. It is south, let me see. So basically, the northern half of Nova Scotia is from my understanding, the northern half is less dense. All the population is concentrated in the more southern part of Nova Scotia versus the north. The northern part is more sparsely populated with pockets of some density, but it's all like Halifax, Yarmouth, or Dartmouth, that's where all of the density comes to play. So I'd say if you're in northern Nova Scotia, you'll have a better time, I would imagine.
And with a population exceeding 1 million. You don't want to be in a populated area during a zombie outbreak, because more people means more infected. Combine this with the lack of fresh water, harsh winters, and you have a recipe for disaster. New Brunswick, foggy, forested, and full of black flies. If the zombies don't get you, the black flies will, and man can they bite. Prince Edward.
Yeah, New Brunswick, the problem you'd run into with New Brunswick is you're sandwiched. New Brunswick is in this unique position where it's a bordering for, it borders the U.S., And you have New York City not all that far south of it. So if a zombie apocalypse breaks out, you have to worry about not only stuff from from the eastern coast of Canada, but you also have to worry about the horde that may have accrued from New York City migrating northward. And New Brunswick is directly in its path. So it's kind of sandwiched in a really fucking bad way.
Island. One bridge in and one bridge out. If zombies start crossing that bridge and traffic gets jammed up, you're toast. It's 8 miles long. You'll never cross that thing on foot. Now we're on to the Yukon. Good luck finding zombies out here, or help. With its vast wilderness, freezing temperatures, and sparse population, you'd be more likely to run into a moose than another survivor. Northwest Territories. Low population density and large amounts of fresh water. With over 1 million square kilometers of rugged land and less than 45,000 people, isolation is guaranteed, making it both a refuge and a challenge if the world goes quiet. And last, but not least, a name that I can never pronounce, but I think it is Nunavut.
Nunavut.
Nunavut. Unreachable, frozen, and empty. Also, statistically, the lowest population density on Earth. We'll talk more about that later. Unlike the US, Canada isn't stocked to the ceiling with AR-15s, but that doesn't mean you're totally out of luck. Your best shot, literally, is heading north. The Yukon and Northwest Territories lead the entire country in gun ownership, with around 67% of households packing at least one firearm. Nunavut's numbers aren't far behind, and Saskatchewan has almost 1 gun for every 2 people. These areas rely heavily on hunting, so firearms are more survival.
You know what? Coyote? Good call. Good fucking call. Bell Island? The one problem, Kyrie, the one problem I could see with Bell Island is resources. You would not have access to many resources, like natural resources, on Bell Island because of its geographical, basically the way the island is formed. You have high cliffs everywhere, but you really don't have any fresh water. Food would be a challenge. You really don't have a lot of wildlife. Well, you can work up. The problem is access. Bell Island sits very high up off the water, like the part where you would actually be. Bell Island sits quite high off the water with some very significant cliffs all around the island, with only one access point. So resources would be a challenge on Bell Island. There's no real sources of fresh water. Fishing would be difficult because, like I said, it's mostly very high cliffs, so it's not like you can just cast a line off the cliffside, and there's not a lot of wildlife on Bell Island. So, for safety purposes, yeah, you're not going to have to worry about a zombie being able to get onto Bell Island, but you won't have food. You won't have food, you won't have fresh water, and that's part of the problem.
Tool than hobby. Alberta also ranks high, with nearly 40% of households armed. If you're anywhere near rural Alberta or northwest Saskatchewan, you might find a rifle in every truck and enough ammo to last a siege. On the flip side, Ontario and Quebec may have the highest numbers of gun licenses overall, but that's just population talking. Per capita, they're near the bottom. If you're in downtown Toronto or Montreal, you're probably going to have to defend yourself with a butter knife. Here's where things get very Canadian. Snow isn't just a pain, it's an ally. Zombies don't regulate body temperature. Sub-zero weather slows them down, freezes their joints, and makes them easy targets. But the snow doesn't love you either. Parts of Canada get 6 to 8 feet of snow in the winter. Ever shovel your driveway and think, wow, I'd love to do this every day just to survive? That's your new life.
Yeah, I've been through blizzards worse than this. I have been through blizzards far worse than this. I've been through blizzards where the snow was probably about this high onto the tops of cars. Okay, some of these blizzards on the East Coast, especially as you get further north, are no fucking joke. They can be really fucking bad. Well, at Busby, what was it? St. John's had a blizzard, I think it was 10 years ago. I believe it may have been 2015. I don't recall exactly, but St. John's had it was literally called Snowmageddon. They had something like eight, I'm trying to remember, I don't recall exactly the height. It was something like 15 to 20 feet of snow dumped on them in the course of like 8 hours. Like, it was fucking bad. And then there was another one that happened last year in wait, was it last year or hang on. No, year before. Year before. Um 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, Nova Scotia had a snowmageddon that hit them. It was like literally, I can't remember if it was a storm of the decade or a storm of the century, but Nova Scotia got the the northern part of Nova Scotia got the ever living shit slapped out of it with snow. This was like a provincial emergency levels of snowfall. It was fucking bad. So yeah, like I've been through I've seen and been through some serious shit when it comes to snow in Canada.
Life. And without electricity or heating oil, you're the one freezing, not just the zombies. And then there's the other side of the coin, wildfires. Every summer, thick smoke rolls across half the country. Fires destroy forests, choke out entire regions. And during an apocalypse, they'll be even more common. You've got way more people roughing it in the woods, building campfires, using generators, making rookie mistakes. And it might not even be an accident. One idiot might light a fire to clear out the zombies. And next thing you know, the entire forest is up in flames. Your shelter, your supplies, everything. Gone in a wall of fire because someone played hero with a lighter. Now picture that, but with no government response. No firefighters and zombies wandering around in the tree line. If you think the forest is your friend, it might just cook you alive. Canada has 20% of the world's fresh water, but not all provinces share it equally. Ontario, Manitoba, Quebec, and the Northwest Territories are all loaded with lakes and rivers. Prince Edward Island, basically bone dry. And good luck trying to melt snow when you're already burning every single book you have to try and stay warm. Okay, let's get to the good stuff now. I feel like I gave you guys a geography lesson that you didn't ask for. So...
Was it 5 years ago, Rudy? Okay, I, for the life of me, could not remember how long ago Snowmageddon happened. Okay, so it was only 5 years ago. There you go. Snowmageddon in St. John's was 5 years ago. Was I right about the density? Was it like 15 to 20 feet of snow dumped in like 8 hours? I could not remember. To the life of me, I could not remember how much got dumped on it. I know it was a lot. It was covering houses. Snowmageddon, like the level of snow that got dumped was literally covering houses to the top of the peak of the roof. It was in fucking sight.
Let's start with the absolute worst places to live in Canada. Number 3 would be Nova Scotia. It looks peaceful, but don't let the coastline fool you. Nova Scotia's population is crammed into small cities and towns, making outbreaks fast and uncontrollable. Halifax alone has nearly 500,000 people, and once
And that's where the bulk of that massive population is. It's in Halifax. It's in the southern part. The further you get north, the more sparse it becomes. So I don't necessarily agree because in the southern part of Nova Scotia, they're going the zombies that the cluster of zombies in like the Halifax region some might go north, but they also might go west to New Brunswick.
panic sets in and the highways and backroads clog, you're running out of options fast. And unless you already have a boat or a remote cabin stashed somewhere, Nova Scotia becomes your wet, scenic coffin. The second worst place in Canada you can try and survive the zombie apocalypse. Prince Edward Island. Looks like a postcard until it turns into a trap. The island's only connection to the mainland is the Confederation Bridge. Once that's jammed, destroyed, or overrun, you're sealed in. Ferries won't be running, and there's no getting out without a boat. Good luck finding one that works, and has fuel. The island is small, which means limited supplies. Few places to hide, and even fewer options if things go bad. You'll burn through resources fast, especially fresh water, which is surprisingly scarce for a place surrounded by the ocean. But I mean, you know, can't really drink salt water, so... Without a...
I mean, he's not talking about desalination, though. Like, desalination might be an option for them. If they've got, like, boiling out the water, maybe. Rainwater? Like, are we forgetting about rainwater? Like, the east coast of Canada can have some significant rainfall. So if you set up like what rainwater collection barrels, you can do water collection. Yeah, winter is where you're gonna run into problem. That's when you stockpile. But yeah, you can boil away salt through basic distilling. So it's you can't just like scoop it out of the ocean and drink it. And like his argument was you can't melt snow in the winter because you're not going to have the materials to burn to actually facilitate the melting. So his thing was okay, you'll burn through all of your the resources to create fire, but tree chopping is a thing, that what the fuck do you think that people that live in the rural areas that don't like that use wood burning stoves for heat, what do you think they do? Chop down fucking trees and store them inside, and then you burn those. He's conveniently forgetting about some pretty basic fucking things here. Like, people lived in all of these areas before electricity happened. How do you think they accomplished this? By especially with water, especially with heat. It's chopping fucking trees down and drying them out and all right, that's fire.
Instead of you resupply, you're not rebuilding a colony. It's not a stronghold, it's a dead end. This is not a place you want to be. Okay, before I get into the absolute worst place you can try to survive the zombie apocalypse in Canada, let's just make one thing clear. And I'm sure I kind of drove this point home already, but basically, populated areas are bad. The zombie can infect somebody with a single bite or...
He's going to say Northwest Territories or even none of it. He's going to say there, probably because lack of resources coming in. I have a suspicion that's what he's going to say. The up north, where it's bare fucking cold, you're getting snow most of the times out of the year, without the resources like gas or food being brought in, I'm guessing he's probably going to say that's probably the worst place to survive the zombie apocalypse because you don't have resources to be able to make a stand. I'm thinking that's what he's going to say.
Scratch. The number one priority is getting out of the big cities, right? The first major factor in any survival plan should be getting out of densely populated areas, above all else. Now that being said, the absolute worst place you can be in Canada is Ontario. The reason why Ontario is so bad is because it has 16 million people, and half of them are packed.
Oh, so he's working off the population density on this one. Okay. All right.
Into the city of Toronto. The second the outbreak happens, panic erupts. People flee in every direction. Highways gridlocked, subways flooded with chaos. The flood of desperate people leaving the cities means small towns get overwhelmed fast. Supplies vanish overnight. Tensions explode. Now you're fighting not just the dead, but everyone else trying to survive. When the winter hits, it'll freeze zombies, but it'll also freeze you. You'll be stuck in a powerless home with no heat and no fuel unless you planned months in advance. Ontario's winters are brutal. Snow piles up, pipes burst, roads vanish, and you're expecting to survive it all while dodging frozen corpses. And only 15% of houses in Ontario are estimated to have guns. Ontario's not just the most dangerous province, it's the perfect recipe for one-day collapse.
Okay, but there's a factor here. He is stuck on the guns thing. There are other weapons that can be used in a zombie apocalypse other than guns. Bows, crossbows, hand weapons, machetes, axes. Those are perfectly viable in a zombie apocalypse too. You can set traps for zombies. Like, he's really like fixated on, there are not many guns, and ignoring the fact that, well, a lot of people have hand tools that would function very well as melee weapons, such as axes, such as chainsaws, although chainsaws rely upon gas, which is in short supply, so maybe not that. But yeah, like axes for one, you would make a fucking spear. You could set like tiger traps to drop zombies into, and they're stuck, they're not getting out of there. Fucking baseball bats would work. Like, it's a lot. There's a lot that they're ignoring. He's ignoring.
Guns are easy. Hand weapons require training and skill.
With the zombie apocalypse, I will disagree. Honestly, I will disagree with the zombie apocalypse. Hand weapons, training, and skill, if you're using them against a skilled combatant, sure. But we're talking zombies. We're talking about slow-moving, they're not like fighting back. Their only weapon is grab and bite. They're not like parrying. Well, yes, they're numbers, but Wolfie, you know what the secret there is? If you have a horde, get away from the horde, and you can pick them off one by one. You can set traps to thin out the numbers. You can do flank attacks where you come in, brain a zombie, back off. They're not going to be fast enough to come after you. That's the thing. Yeah, you can do luring tactics. Like, there are other tactics that are not being taken into account here. This guy's focus is almost primarily on firearms, which is not the case. You will have more than firearms to work with during a zombie apocalypse.
All right, now the good news. If you want to live, here are the top 3 best spots in Canada. But before that, maybe consider giving this video a like, eh? I had to squeeze the A in there somewhere. Okay, so here are the top 3 best spots. Number 3 goes to Saskatchewan for its vast flat land and tiny population, and more farmland than you can shake a pitchfork at. Visibility is incredible. Zombies can't sneak up on you and there's nothing to hide behind.
Hold up. There's a flaw in this lot. He's also fixated on the population. There's a flaw in his logic of, oh, you live in don't live in a densely populated area. That's fine for the initial outbreak, but for survivability, hordes, no. Zombie hordes are migratory. They don't just like, okay, that, you know, in the densely populated cities, the infection happens and then they just stay there and don't move. Like, zombie hordes literally will migrate. They continually move around. So eventually the hordes will come to these previously non-densely populated areas. So having a low population density, yeah, it'll help you for the initial onset, but it will not help you for the long term for survivability. And he keeps forgetting about that part of it.
Sure, winters are brutal, and you'll get tired of eating root vegetables, but Saskatchewan might be the most underrated place to ride out the end of the world. Oh, and don't forget, they have a shitload of guns. Number 2 goes to Northwest Territories, with vast freshwater lakes, a tiny population, and towns like Hay River that actually have real infrastructure, plus world-class fishing and trapping. The Northwest Territories is a survivalist haven. Most locals already know how to live off-grid, think hunting and fishing and fixing their snowmobile just in time for breakfast. The weather's brutal, but it'll stop zombies right in their tracks, and don't forget they also have a shitload of guns. Alright, now before I name the number 1 spot, I'm just going to put the map up one last time to kind of see if you guys guessed where it was. So just take a look at the map and see if you know where the place is going to be.
He's probably going to say Newfoundland.
Right? 3, 2, 1. And the number 1 spot goes to Nunavut, a place that I cannot pronounce to save my life. You probably didn't expect this, or maybe you did. Nunavut. Nunavut is Canada's northmost territory, one of the most remote and sparsely populated regions on Earth. Fewer roads means fewer infected, and the cold, zombies don't like it. The extreme conditions also mean fewer people, less travel, and lower odds of infection reaching remote communities. But here's the twist. It's not just about being remote, it's about where in Nunavut you go. Towns like Rankin Inlet and Arviat aren't just icy dots on the map. They're functioning, close-knit communities with power, hunting, fishing, and real Arctic survival know-how. These aren't ghost towns. They're self-sufficient hubs where people already know how to live off the land. Population is tiny, the landscape is unforgiving, and the roads basically non-existent. No, but seriously, the roads actually don't exist. If you want to come over here, you need to fly. But that's the point. Fewer people means fewer infected. If you come prepared, contribute to the community, and don't act like an idiot, you just might earn your spot and outlive the apocalypse. Canada's huge, cold, and dangerous, even before zombies. But if you play your cards right, you might just survive. And if you're still in Ontario or Vancouver, you better start running. Alright guys, if you made it to the end, I appreciate you very much, and I want to thank you for all the support I got on the last video. That's crazy. I think as of recording this right now, the video is at 60,000 views. You guys basically got me to 2,000 subscribers. Nuts. This was a passion project. I did this for fun. I wasn't expecting this kind of support, and very grateful for it. So I know this probably wasn't the video some of you guys wanted. I think some of you were probably hoping to see like survival in like a specific location, but I had started this video already before I even posted the first 3 videos. But yeah, anyways, again, thank you. Hopefully this one was enjoyable enough. But yeah, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button somewhere. Like the video, leave me some
I
feedback.
will tell you in a second.
In the last video, I basically replied to everybody. It got to a point where I started losing control. I mean, it just wasn't possible. You guys just kept like, the comments kept coming. I will get to everybody, probably. And yeah, I think I'll be able to keep that up for a while. So if you guys want to, you know, conversate, leave me feedback, criticism, I'm open to all of it. I understand that people were upset about the AI stuff, so there's none of that in this video. And there won't be any more of that moving forward. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. If you haven't seen any of these videos here on the screen, go check them out. If you have, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Okay, so I will disagree partially on this. I think Newfoundland would probably be safer for a couple very specific reasons. Number one, it's an island. It is a very rocky island with high cliffs.
30 inches of snow fell in St. John's on January 17th, 2020, setting a record for snowfall in a single day for the area.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you. Now, I fully think that Newfoundland would be better for the zombie apocalypse because number one, it's a fucking island. Okay? And the water is, you know, with high cliffs, so the zombies would have a tough time. There are plenty of guns in Newfoundland. Newfoundland is a hunting culture. Don't forget, they have the annual moose hunts every year that so many people want to participate in. They literally have to have a lottery to choose to who gets the license to hunt moose that year. So there are plenty of guns with his whole gun thing. Newfoundland is very self-sufficient. It has its own, so it has multiple sources of power, so you can maintain power and electricity through multiple hydroelectric plus refineries. There's drilling in there. There are plenty of lakes with fresh water, plenty of food for hunting. Now people can, you know, fish and hunt moose to their heart's content. Newfoundland is quite reasonably self-contained. So honestly, Newfoundland would probably be one of the best places for riding out the zombie apocalypse because it is isolated. And it does have a pretty strong degree of self-containment. So, yeah, I will disagree. I'm disappointed that he didn't point that out. That Newfoundland has just about everything that you need to be able to survive in isolation. So yeah, I do disagree with what he has to say on that. Yes, I do.